Okay, hello. I'm Kieran. I'm with Elaina Arthur
Hi.
for Manifestavibe. Just a little icebreaker. We're gonna start this off simple. Um, are you manifesting anything recently?
Man, I am. So I've been in the process of refining and perfecting like a track list for my album. And one of the things I'm manifesting, I guess, in the greatest capacity is just that everything lines up well and everything is refined the way I want it to be and that I can put out a really amazing project.
Of course. That's awesome. I wish you luck with that.
Thank you.
We're gonna get into it now.
Wonderful.
Your EP 16, I've been listening to it all day. So in my eyes, it seems to be sort of an angsty response to the external pressures and expectations placed on you as you've grown into the person you are now. Can you speak to the rawness of your lyrics, and do you see your music taking a harder direction compared to your earlier work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I recorded that album when I was 15 and 16 years old. And I think any 15-year-old or 16-year-old girl, especially when they are making music in a male-dominated industry, they're going to have a lot of angst. And so I really poured that out in that pop punk and harder rock sound. And as I've grown with my writing and grown into writing about even more vulnerable and more raw things, I've taken a direction with my music that's a little bit unexpected, where you would expect me to go into the harder rock with the harder content, but really I've just been trying to write the same way, trying to write the deepest parts of me out, but then pairing it with simpler music and simple guitar notes and simple pieces, so that those words are really what draws the attention on that new album.
So you consider yourself, are you more of a lyrics person than a melody person?
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
see.
The words are where it's all after me.
I couldn't agree more. I have to add, so contemporary country music has its roots in a folk tradition, evolving and passing through generations of musicians over time. As a singer-songwriter, I was wondering how your music is influenced by your personal experience where you grew up. What has imprinted on you in your music?
Yeah, for sure. So, I think in Columbus, because I grew up spending summers here, and then I grew up spending my year here, and then I would spend my summers in North Carolina. And I think spending those summers in North Carolina is really where I got the taste or the ear for that more country sound. And then when you pair that with the indie rock that's kind of going on in the Columbus music scene now, and as I grew up into a teenager, I was able to, bring those folky, acoustic, country show at a bar elements to that more like indie rock or soft rock that's so popular here, which I think is a really, really cool combination that I was able to create.
Yeah. So you think that the local sound here has sort of also affected you a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I've been playing live for so long. I played my first show at an open mic when I was 12 years old. And one of the other girls playing there was Frankie Soleil. And she still makes music in Columbus, There's so many people that, even though they were a little bit older than me, because most people weren't, jamming at 12.
Impressive.
Oh, well, thank you. But, even though they were a little bit older, or even if we connected like a little bit later, there's just so many people in this industry that I've really gotten a chance to grow up with. Like the band Ink, I've known those guys since I was like 16. And so it's really cool because I think in a good circle of musicians and a good circle of friends that are all jamming together, you all influence each other in that way. And I think that was the coolest part about being involved directly in the music scene and getting influenced from that.
So when I was looking at your website, I noticed that you had a 12-string guitar. I was curious on what your take is on 12-string versus 6-string.
Oh, wow, you're like Sean Evans. You're pulling up like the deep dive questions. I really love it. So my very first guitar was a 6-string Ovation. And then when I graduated high school, they bought me the same Ovation but in a 12-string. I was like, how the hell do you guys want me to play this? I really thought it would be so much different. And really with those, I am a power chords lover. I love power chords. I love simple chord progressions and those rougher lyrics over top of it. And so to play those simple chord progressions, when you're playing those on a 12-string, that's like, boom. That adds a fuller sound, that adds the echo and the energy that you want to be there. And I'm a big fan of playing the 12 string. Big fan.
Beautiful instrument. I was just curious what you were gonna say about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So your video for Fifth Goodbye prevalently features Old Dublin, which is a beautiful area. But do you have a favorite park or other area that has affected your writing process, or a place that you like to go around Columbus?
Yeah, so because I grew up in a little bit of the country area of Columbus, I was really close to all the metro parks growing up. My dad was a park ranger growing up.
Oh, really?
So I discovered a lot of these really cool spots, and then I would go with my dad, or I would discover like a place under the woods where I could sit or whatever. And then I would go back with my friend Jackie, or I would go back alone and just bring my guitar and then just be able to sit alone in the metro parks or alone in these beautiful little areas and play.
Is there like a specific one that's very memorable to you?
So on Beach Road, there's a bridge, and there's a little spot where if you walk along the bridge and go underneath, you just see the whole river, and you can sit underneath the bridge. And in the summer, everything grows up so tall. And I used to love. I use a lot of imagery about flowers and nature and the sky and the trees in my writing, and so I think that influenced it a lot as well.
Awesome. Is that the one where there's like kind of a gazebo underneath the bridge?
I don't know. It's
sorry,
kinda...
I'm like super into parks.
No, that's awesome. And I would, after this interview, I'd love to hear more about this gazebo, because mine is not that cool.
Okay.
It's just a bridge with some river.
I see. Okay.
Special to me, at least.
No, I'm sure it's very beautiful. I'd love to see it. Crap. Oh man, I had it all remembered, so I'm gonna be reading it. Oh well.
Oh no, that happens with my lyrics sometimes.
Really?
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've forgotten lyrics on stage.
Do you make it up as you go when that happens, or do you acknowledge it, or like what are you
No,
gonna
I
do?
go like this. I'm like, and then this, right? And then I just like ba-da-da until I like go back into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I was looking at your tour dates and a lot of places that you've been to in the past, and you know, I think like a lot of starter like musicians, it's like there's a lot of like breweries and coffee shops.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious if there was like a particular drink that you had at any of your venues that was like kind of memorable for you.
Interesting. Okay, so
Okay.
I was reading this book the other week that it was talking about how like the coffee shop essentially has become like the little pocket of like the true society in every city, or like the youth, or what's going on in the city. And so I love playing coffee shops. My favorite thing to do is get a drink at a coffee shop I've never had before. So I've tried black pepper in my coffee.
Oh.
I've tried Big in my coffee. And I think the black pepper and vanilla bean might have been the weirdest, most awesome coffee ever. It's really cool.
You have a dog, right, named Yoda?
I do have a dog named Yoda. Wow.
I was curious what your favorite Star Wars movie was. Did you name your dog?
I did not name my... Oh man, why'd you have to ask me this?
I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't name my dog. My dad did. And I
Oh.
haven't watched Star Wars.
Oh no!
No.
That's awesome. Well, anyway, I hope Yoda's doing alright.
I have a cat named Melvin. There's no
Why?
like,
Why is it
reason.
named Melvin?
Well, her name was Melody,
Okay.
and then I just started calling her Melvin, and it just got her so much better.
No, I like the
A
name.
cat
Melvin.
named Kanye as well.
Really?
Melvin and Kanye, yeah,
Melvin
both
and Kanye.
girls.
Oh, that's
You
amazing.
should have asked me about them, not Yoda. I was
Okay, well,
kidding.
tell me about Melvin and
Love
Kanye.
Yoda.
Okay. List some of your influences as Taylor Swift and Jack Johnson. How have your influences metabolized into your music, and like how do you find yourself continuing to be inspired by them?
Yeah, I think like I have this directional pull of when I'm writing of like what genre or what type of music it wants to go into. And when I listen to a lot of different artists who have some things that stand out and that stay steady, like that lyricism that I look up to, that's really the most important part. So I can look at a Carole King song and hear this beautiful lyricism and then like a beautiful piano ballad, or I could hear a Taylor Swift song and have it be super upbeat but still have those beautiful lyrics. And so the main thing I look for in my influences is not just how they write, but then how they're able to use that music to convey what they wrote.
Very good. you did get tickets to see Taylor Swift, is that correct?
I got tickets to see Taylor Swift the day before the show.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you manage that? Those are hard to get for anyone listening to this in the future.
Yeah, they were really hard to get. There were 3 computers.
Okay.
There was my friend Lauren's computer, there was my friend Caitlin's computer,
Oh,
and there was Lauren's mom's computer.
You had like the whole like setup.
Yeah, it was the day before. There was a surprise Ticketmaster drop. They were only dropping 50 tickets. Who's gonna get it? We got them.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was pretty awesome. It was pretty life changing.
Where did you see that? Was that
In Cincinnati.
in Cincinnati? Very good.
In Cincinnati, because I saw.
Aww. Did she have like the van things?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
I wish we had those for Manifest.
Yeah.
Next year?
Budget? Is that the budget? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Well, so I actually accidentally got a lot of these already. So, what's in the future for Elaina Arthur? What's going on there?
Yeah. So I am working on doing this album, which is really like what I'm pouring the most of my focus on right now. It is the most me album I think I've created, or the most me project or group of songs that I've worked on, because it is just so, it is equal parts vulnerable and fun and equal parts girly and in-depth, and it's just such this wonderful creation of so many different feelings, and still being able to express that in a way that's so pure to who I am. So I'm so excited for other people to hear it.
Amazing. Okay, so before I close off, are there any questions from anyone else? Does anyone else want to come in?
Any questions?
This is awesome.
Favorite tattoo?
Favorite tattoo?
Oh, favorite
Yeah.
tattoo. My first one, my peace sign. Anything to say about that?
Yeah. Do we have a shot of that? Alright, well, it's a peace sign. Anyway.
It's a circle with some lines through it.
Yeah, no, you've seen it all before. Anyway, Elaina, it was very nice speaking with you. Thank you for agreeing to this interview. And I can't wait to see you at Manifestavibe August
11th and 12th.
11 and 12.
Take that again.
Yay.
Take that again. Take it again.
Take it again.
Yep.
August 11 and 12. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking in that camera. All right. We're good.